Welcome to episode 10 of the Takes from the Logo podcast. I am Jonah Middleton here with Theo Mandelbaum and Connor Hart. We're running a three-man weave today, big three, whatever you want to call it. Normally we've got at least two other people here, but we're going to be – you are really smiling hard. Sorry.
I'm laughing at you said three-man weave.
You said that
Yeah.
last time we had only three people.
It's a through-the-wire thing. Because
I've never heard that expression before.
really?
Uh-uh.
You don't know what a three-man weave is?
No.
Before y'all's next rec game, I'll make y'all run a three-man weave to start off.
Oh, no.
It's fun.
What is it? You just run in a braid? Or
No, I mean kind of. It's hard to explain verbally.
Okay.
I would have to show you a video of it.
Gotcha.
But we last recorded a month ago, so it's been a while since we've been active on anything really. But a lot has happened. We're not going to talk about the past month, obviously, but we will talk about some of the things that have happened somewhat recently. There's been some injuries. All-star stuff is coming up. We're officially at the halfway point of the season, or really, really close to it. We had a trade go down today, so there's
First
a lot
big
to talk
one.
about. Yeah.
We don't count Bull because
Mm-mm.
he's got what's it called? He failed his physical, so it didn't go through.
That's why he hasn't been playing, I guess.
Would explain a lot.
Where do we want to start today? There's a lot to talk about.
I mean, you talked about the trade. Do we just want to start with that? And open
Yeah.
up?
Well, I thought we were going to talk
We
about
can- we can do that in a
We can
little
do
bit.
that
We
in
can
the
do that in a little
overview.
Yeah, we'll do that in a little bit.
Let's talk about the trade. It's going to be the Hawks and the Knicks, ironically enough.
I will
after
get the
their-
full trade up. And just
I've got it right here.
Oh, okay.
I came prepared. Yeah.
There we go.
So the Hawks and Knicks, ironically, after their postseason rivalry, make a trade. And the Knicks will receive Cam Reddish, Solomon Hill, a 2025 second-round pick. Or no, Knicks are getting Cam Reddish, and they're going to send the Hawks Kevin Knox, 2022 first-rounder.
Next, they're getting Solomon Hill too.
Okay, I was right. It's laid out weird on here.
Mm-hmm. I trusted.
Okay.
We thought
My
you
fault,
came
my fault.
prepared.
Let me see if Solomon Thomas
I did
is
too.
an expiring.
I copied and pasted the wrong thing from ESPN. So that was the problem. Kevin Knox, 2022 first for Reddish, Hill, and a 2025 second.
Solomon Hill's on expiring. It was just salary filler.
Yes. I don't know. I could be wrong. And Reddish, he's been in trade rumors for a long time, but I feel like they've always been antsy to get rid of him, and it's kind of confused me at times.
Especially with their wing depth being so thin right now. They really don't have a ton of quality options till DeAndre Hunter comes back. Although I do think people are being a touch critical of the trade because, I mean, it is going to be a mid-first, which you can do stuff with, especially in the offseason. So maybe the Hawks will try to upgrade then, but they just didn't want to pay him. I know that for a fact.
The only reason why I think they did this trade, or I mean, maybe there could definitely be other reasons. The only thing that makes sense to me, at least, because it doesn't make a lot of sense overall, is there's a first, but also Kevin Knox can be a little bit more of a rebounder and defender than Cam Reddish at times. And they have enough scoring on the wing. They really do. So that's fit just seems like part of the reason.
Reddish also kind of wanted out too because he wasn't getting the opportunity. So, and the Knicks continue their collection of non-point guards on their roster. My working theory is that they're going to trade for Westbrook at the deadline. So when
That
it
team would
happens-
be – oh, my God.
Can you imagine the triple doubles between Randall and Westbrook?
Can you imagine the New York fans
Oh
between
my
Randall
goodness.
and Westbrook?
Imagine all the bricks between Barrett, Westbrook, and Randall this
Mhm.
year.
Until it's for game. Then Barrett.
Oh, Thibodeau's going to keep letting them shoot though.
Reddish was having a pretty good year, career high in points, career high in field goal percentage,
What's he
career
shooting?
high in 3-point percent. He's shooting 40%, but 38% from three. I think he's taking a decent number per game.
That's
too.
nice.
4.5 of his 5.6 shots per game have been threes this year. So he's really just been a 3-point shooter for them. One more Zion Duke teammate, so you'll hear Knicks fans for the next however many years going crazy about how Zion's coming.
They're gonna act like it's Wade, LeBron, and Bosh because they're in
Yeah.
the same draft class.
Yeah.
It's like
And they all went to played on the same team too, which it would be cool to see, but maybe not this early in Zion's career at least.
I can't wait until one day the Timberwolves will sign Jahlil Okafor to like a minimum, and then I can say that they have all three of their like the number 3 people in the 2015 draft class, and I'll be able to say that before Knicks fans do.
I like this trade a lot for the Knicks though. I think Reddish is a solid piece, and he'll get more opportunity there. I'd like to see him play well because he's had some up and down moments, even through college. I think he was a number 3 guy going in behind RJ and Zion, but to be the number 3 high school player in the country is obviously impressive.
Yeah.
And I feel like his potential hasn't been fully tapped into yet. So hopefully big things coming from him.
He'll be big.
Soon.
Yeah, he'll fill a really big hole for the Knicks, especially when Evan Fournier is not playing the Celtics and is therefore playing badly.
The Knicks roster is confusing to look at, though.
It is.
It's really confusing.
It's more confusing when you look at the head coach.
It seems like they're trying to get younger with this trade, though. Even though they got rid of a first. I don't know. I mean, still a younger player.
It wasn't their first, at least, so they'll still have theirs, I think. I don't know if they're in possession of it right now.
Can I say one more thing?
If they are, yeah.
The Knicks definitely won this trade because they got rid of Kevin Knox, who, don't forget, he wore a Fortnite jacket when he was drafted.
That's where it all went wrong.
That's where it went wrong.
That's
One summer league.
And then he had I know Zion is going to be brought up again, but in summer league when Zion pretty much caused an earthquake. Or that was the earthquake, ripping the ball from Kevin Knox and like throwing him to the ground and dunking on him. And then you had aftershocks in that game not too long after, which is really, really funny.
I think Zion took whatever talent Kevin Knox had at that moment and just ripped it from him.
Yeah.
What happened to Alonzo Trier? Because I remember that Kevin Knox, Alonzo
really
Trier core.
question.
What a good core.
I think he was just bad. I think he went to Sacramento for a bit, and then they waived him at the start of the year.
Let's see what he's up to. Alonzo Trier.
Where's he playing?
My guess he's on the Knicks.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't believe
let's see how many minutes he's gotten this year. It should be good.
Zero. I don't think he's playing.
Has he touched the floor? He hasn't. He hasn't touched the floor since 2020.
Are you sure he's still in the Knicks? I don't think so.
Does it say 2021, 2022?
Maybe he hasn't been there since 2020. That's the last.
He was on the Kings last year. I know that.
Okay. Well, does it say that?
Basketball Reference doesn't think so.
I know he was on the roster because I played around with way too
Even
much
if he is on a
machine.
team, the fact that he's not listed is enough to.
Wasn't he averaging at least a little bit the last time he played?
He averaged 10 his first season.
And then second season?
Almost 45% from the field. But yeah, I don't know what happened.
I remember Knicks fans being really upset he wasn't getting more playing time. And then they just didn't play him.
This reminds me of an IT situation, not in terms of injuries, just everyone's like, he should be on a team. He should get minutes. And it's because he was good. But no one in the league actually seems to think so.
Yeah.
So, there's got to be a reason for it.
Yeah. I think a lot of people struggle separating rooting for somebody and actually
thinking they're a good player.
Yeah. I think everybody falls victim to that. But IT is one of those guys, unfortunately.
He was really good that one year. And then the hip injury really hurt him.
That one year.
The Celtics trading him.
That 1 year when he destroyed us in the playoffs. It's ridiculous. Why did we switch Markieff Morris onto him every time? Why did we switch?
Speaking of Markieff Morris,
why did we
pour one out for him. I don't think he's played since we last recorded an episode either. So
literally,
that was when the Jokic thing had happened.
Tell me, when John Wall, one of the best perimeter defenders in the league at the time, 2016-17, is on IT, and Al Horford comes to set a screen, why do we switch Markieff Morris onto him? Scott Brooks.
We're still ranting about coaches from 2 years ago.
Dude.
Or no, just last season.
I'm still traumatized by
You're
Scott
bringing
Brooks.
up my trauma by wearing that jersey.
I just like the way the jersey looks. I'm not going to lie.
He's wearing a Jimmy Butler Heat jersey. You don't know how
I like Jimmy Butler and the Heat jerseys.
If it weren't for the fact that we've beat them 7 of our last 8 meetings. Not 8, 5 of our last 6.
I have no attachment to the Heat. I like a lot of the guys in their team, but I don't care what you have to say about them. Honestly, you can talk all the trash you want. It's not going to affect me.
Anyway.
But the abundance of Celtics fans at school, they tormented me during that series. So I have a reason. They tormented me.
Okay, so
You didn't get harassed on the streets of New York after the Thunder lost to Michael Beasley single-handedly.
You didn't get
that happened to me. I got this trip to New York for Christmas, so I got a surprise game at Madison Square Garden because the Thunder were in the city, and my parents were like, "Oh, it'd be cool if we went. Like, what are the odds that they're there?" And then eventually, I got to go see it just for it was Carmelo Anthony's return game, and Michael Beasley single-handedly dismantled us. And then the next day, I was wearing Thunder stuff, which was my first mistake. And we're just walking down whatever street, and two dudes on the side of the street are harassing me about the game. I'm in 8th grade at the time too, so like some 13-year-old kid is getting harassed in New York by two guys because my basketball team was. It was all in good fun, but that is one of those memories that I will never forget.
I've only been to 2 games of my favorite team. So one was when we played the Wizards, and I thought I was going to get to see Cat in person. And then the game before I go, he fights Embiid in Philadelphia and gets suspended for 2 games. I remember getting pissed at that. And then this year, around Christmas, I went to see the Wolves play the Hornets and single-handedly get absolutely shot out of the stadium by Kelly Oubre Jr., who scored 28 on us because he made 8 threes.
Okay, because there was that one game where he dropped 40. It wasn't that game.
No, he dropped like 28, but I think he went 9 or he went like 8 of 10 for 3. Because they were all wide open. Because we just kept leaving them open in the corner. Dude, I was mad. But yeah.
I don't know if I've ever seen a really good basketball game for my favorite sports team. I've seen other good games. But I've never seen a game that's really, really competitive in person.
I hope
we end up winning.
Mm-hmm.
I saw the Anthony Davis buzzer beater when he was in New Orleans from
dude,
where he comes in off the inbound and double pumps and just chucks it up and banks it in.
That is a really good game. What are you talking about?
But not for me. It ended really poorly for me.
Dude, the Pelicans break all of our hearts.
Incredible shot, but it was a tragic moment for elementary school me.
As of the recording of this video, the last shot I saw of the Wolves was Brandon Ingram draining a logo buzzer beater on us for the win. So I'm kind of upset.
Yeah, I've got some stories about Wizards games, but we should probably move on.
Yeah.
Because we got to get into.
We can talk about.
Do you want to talk about what the standings?
Oh, I can talk about the Wizards. That's for sure.
Or do we want to get into our teams?
Let's talk about our teams, and then we can move on to the standings, and we can mention where they are in the standings when we talk about that. But the Wizards. So I think the last time we were on here, I said the Wizards are falling back down to earth a little bit, right? That's when we were. I think that's when we were probably.
That's where we were. Yeah.
I'm trying to think of around what our record was then. Were we probably 5 or 6 games above 500 when that happened, right?
Maybe
that sounds right.
Because we were 10-3, and then we went 7-19.
Yeah,
that happens.
And
or 9-17 is what it was. Because then we were 19-20, won our last 2 games, so we're 21-20 right now.
22-20 actually.
Okay, so I guess we won our last 3, didn't we? Yeah, we did.
We
did because we beat the Magic twice. But yeah, we sucked for a bit. We were really bad for a bit there.
Dinwiddie was bad.
Dinwiddie was really bad. We had people out in health and safety protocols. There was a point where our bench was just G League. We signed Alize Johnson. Then we signed Brad Wanamaker. Then he got put in health and safety protocols. Then we signed Tremont Waters. He got put in health and safety protocols. Finally, some guys came back. So we were just basically signing people, and we lost a lot of games because of that and because we were really bad. But what I really want to get into is when we played the Bulls on New Year's. We played so well.
What do we call that, Connor?
The New Year's Eve.
The New Year's Eve.
We played so well. If you watched that game, you would know we were just strolling into the paint, skipping into the paint, even. And DeMar DeRozan just hits back-to-back threes, one of them at the buzzer over 2 guys. It was such a good shot, but it makes me so mad because Kuzma hit a 3 right before that, and I was like, Kuzma does it again. Kuzma does it again because Kuzma is the clutchest player in the league. Almost.
That sounds like such a crazy sentence.
No, but in terms of actual stats, he's one of the
Dude, he has been. Every time I watch a Wizards game, this man is just scoring in clutch time, and I don't know why.
So he hit a 3, And then DeRozan hit a 3 before that. Then Kuzma hit a 3. And I'm like, I'm telling you, there was so much fear. Like, I was so scared when I saw DeRozan with Kispert on him. I'm like, no. And he gets the ball. He's pretty alone. It's pretty much just him and Kispert. And then he fakes, but Neto comes over and he hits it somehow. How did he hit that? And then Kevin Porter Jr. with that step back 3. That was I don't know what to say.
Don't say what your commentator said.
I will not say what the commentator said.
My favorite thing on Twitter was after that shot, someone said, "Dang, the Wizards really are the definition of a 500 team."
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, last 3 games we've played well. We were down double digits to the Magic, which shouldn't have happened, but we came back and won. We looked good against whoever we played 2 nights ago. I already forgot. Am I stupid?
Probably.
The Thunder. Yeah. We played the Thunder. We looked pretty good against them.
Everyone looks good against them.
We beat the Magic last night.
I know, because we beat them twice.
But Dinwiddie's playing well again, which seems to happen when Beal's out. Beal comes back and Dinwiddie plays the same. Oh, actually, I have a reason to think that we'll be better than we have been in the last 20 games. My reason is that we got Thomas Bryant back. And we got Rui back. So we have more depth, which I believe now that we have more depth, Tommy Shepard feels comfortable making a trade because I know he's going to do that. And you saw that we're looking at, I'm sure both of you saw we're interested in Jeremy Grant. I don't know how much we'd have to give up for Jeremy Grant, but we have at this point, since everyone is pretty much back, we have a 12 or 13 man rotation of players that should get minutes in the NBA. It seems like there's enough opening for a trade.
We'll probably have to do Rui, a little bit of salary filler, and then a first.
Do people want Rui though? Now
he's a young player.
He's a young player, but I don't know. Also, do we want to trade Rui 2 or 3 games back? It's like I want to see what he's bringing before we trade him, because if he's actually gets back into the groove of things and he's really good, I want to keep that.
I guarantee you the Pistons are getting good offers right now, and they're just waiting.
Listen to me. We looked so good playing Beal at point guard and KCP at shooting guard when Dinwiddie was out with COVID protocols. Trading Dinwiddie wouldn't be a bad idea to me. I don't know if there's a trade. I don't know if we can't trade him after signing him for a certain period of time, because that's a thing, right?
Y'all should call up the Lakers and say, "Hey, you guys want Dinwiddie, and we'll take Westbrook again."
But I'm just saying,
Lord.
Overall, for trades on our team, there are a lot of options. Beal, I don't think we want to trade Kuzma at this point because he's been so good.
Yeah.
Beal, Kuzma, and Gafford and maybe Denny. I don't know how I feel about Denny, but basically Beal, Kuzma, and Gafford are probably the 3 that we won't trade. But everyone else is probably could be put on the trade block.
Gotcha. Okay, I'll talk about the Wolves because they've been weird as always.
Yeah.
Right now I think they're 20-21. I want to say, which hey, that's major improvement for us. We might break our last season win total before the All-Star break. Right now we have the greatest starting lineup of in the history of the NBA, which is hilarious to me. When they're on the floor, their net rating is plus 50.5, which, to put it into perspective, the next closest is lineup period in the league is 26.5.
Jeez.
They are absolutely destroying teams. And it's I think it's 143 minutes, and they've outscored teams by 142 points in the 143 minutes they played.
What is this lineup?
It's D'Lo, Pat Bev, Anthony Edwards, Jared Vanderbilt, and Cat. It's literally just their offensive rating is 135 and their defensive rating is 85.
How is that even possible?
I don't know. It works really well.
Sorry to cut you off. One thing I forgot to mention about the Wizards, our defense has fallen off so hard.
I sent you that tweet and you didn't believe me.
I was like, nah, because we were actually contesting. Originally we were playing good defense not because of luck, because we were contesting threes. Now we're just not, and they're making them. All right, back to the Wolves.
Yeah, somehow we've actually remained a good defense. I think we're 11th on the year. It's honestly, I think we're 18th in offense, which is weird. But
Yeah.
Jared Vanderbilt is the second coming of Dennis Rodman. I mean this only like as a joke, but also not. I remember he had like 19 boards and like 20 points against the Rockets, and I was just laughing the whole time.
He's like
against
Dennis
the
Rodman's Emerald card or something.
Yes. He's such a, he gets every offensive rebound. I don't know how. He has hops, dude. But yeah, honestly, I really kind of want to make a trade because I want the Wolves to push to, because they're I think they're like a game and a half back of the 6th seed in the West because of how like kind of bad the West has been, because every team is disappointed except for the Warriors and Suns and Utah and Grizzlies. But besides that, but yeah, I saw a trade that was like Malik Beasley, Jaden McDaniels, and a first for Jeremy Grant, and I would honestly be pretty cool with that.
Grant would be really solid for y'all.
Because I'd probably start Jeremy Grant over Beverly, and then bring Beverly off the bench, but because Vanderbilt's been so good. But yeah, I'm really excited for what the Wolves will do this season. They've looked good. The coaching's good. We lost our entire starting lineup and our 2 best bench players to COVID at one point at the same time. So we had the GOAT Greg Monroe play for us for a bit, and he dominated the Celtics. It was actually like hilarious. And he'll forever be one of my favorite players now because of that game.
Greg Monroe,
dude.
Honestly,
Wolves legend.
if y'all were gonna make a trade, I would like to see you guys get a shooting guard / small forward, more of a wing that can guard like great.
That's kind of what I was thinking.
Someone that can guard
Jeremy.
great point guards. Because Jeremy Grant, like he can guard good
Beverly.
wings, but can he guard like Lillard and Curry better than other?
We don't need to
people?
worry about guarding Lillard. Anyway,
That's true. But
you know who would have been good on the Wolves?
Who?
Who can do that kind of thing?
Who?
He plays in my Jimmy Butler, maybe.
oh, you know who else has been really
He
good
would
at
have been nice
defense?
for y'all.
Ever since he left
Wiggins
the
is
Wolves.
not good at
You know who's been good at defense?
Wiggins is not like that, dude.
Wiggins has been pretty good at defense.
The worst part-
2022 All-Star Andrew Wiggins.
The worst part is that both of them were 22, bro. I hate it so much. Wiggins has not been better.
I love that.
He's just been on a better team, and people are suddenly realizing, wow, he isn't complete garbage. Wow, we need to vote him into the All-Star game.
I saw
immediately.
some crazy stat with him a few days ago. I can't even remember what it was, but
yeah.
I remember seeing it and just trying to consider whether or not I was living in reality for a second.
I've watched Warriors games. The only thing that's better is he's shooting it way better for no reason. Like from 3, he's shooting 40%. Besides that, he does the same things he's always done, where he just disappears for 5-minute stretches.
It was leading scorers or like
It was
players from
duos.
Canada.
Oh, never mind.
Players from Canada with the most 30-plus point games, and it was like Wiggins, Nash, Murray, Gilgeous-Alexander, and Wiggins was ahead of the rest of them by so much. And I was just like,
he has played the Thunder a ton of times. To be fair.
Yeah, I know. I was like, this is just weird to me because he's not better than any of the people on that
What's the
list.
recording?
123.
Okay. Yeah, but honestly, this is like the most excited I've ever been as a Wolves fan. I'm not ashamed to wear their merchandise past January, which is like a huge improvement for me. So honestly, I'm going to take it.
That's
Screw
how we
you,
should
lottery
start
balls.
benchmarking y'all's success. It's how ashamed are you to wear?
At what month am I ashamed to wear their stuff?
Yeah.
And honestly, this year, they're on pace for 40 wins. Their line that they were given by Vegas was 33.5. So
Hold on.
Vegas was wrong about them.
Well, I remember they had the Wizards really low.
I think they had y'all at like 35.
Yeah.
And y'all are on pace for like 44.
Yeah, I mean,
That's good.
both
Anyway,
of our teams are overperforming.
yeah, different expectations. Anyway, let's get into like the general standings now. Just because some teams have been absolutely killing it recently. First team I would probably say is the Grizzlies.
Yeah.
They've been on an absolute tear since Thanksgiving, and they've been dominating teams. I'm scared because we play them tonight.
10-game win streak for them.
Yeah. It's like the best way to put it. I've watched a couple of their games. It's just everybody knows exactly what they're doing, and that's like a huge, nod to the coaching staff, but also like their players. Like guys like Tyus Jones are actually like really good for them, which I find is really funny.
You know what? It has me thinking, how good would they be if they had Valanciunas? instead of
They-
Adams.
You say that, but Adams has actually kind of been perfect for them. He's the big that will get the rebounds and do the dirty work and won't take 20 shots a game. Or not
I
20.
agree with what he said.
I think that he's the part of the reason that guys like Desmond Bain and Tyus Jones have taken these bigger roles. I really like.
They feel like a college team to me.
But it's not like
Zaire Williams has been pretty good.
it's not like
Just
when
the way they play.
Valanciunas was there, he wasn't efficient on those shots. He was very efficient when he was taking those shots, and he was good at scoring them. So
The system of offense.
It's not that's not the problem necessarily. It's it's a flow thing. They're, I don't know. They're just, he was efficient, right? But somehow they're getting even more efficient shots from a collection of players now, which that's not an indictment on Valanciunas. He's a really good player. That's just how it works sometimes.
Just they have too much depth. Not too much. Not that too much depth is a bad thing, but
No.
for Valanciunas' play style to fit, their depth is too strong.
Yeah. Honestly, Valanciunas has been pretty good on the Pelicans. After they started 1-12, I'm pretty sure in their past 29 games they've been 15-14. They're actually a decent team now.
Now, in the playoffs, though, usually it does help to have the more talented individual who can just score better against that tight defense. So I don't know if it would be better for playoffs to have Valanciunas or
Probably.
this depth.
I don't know. I feel like they could be I'm not going to say the Spurs, not that level, but I'm thinking they could be they just love, it looks like a bunch of guys who love basketball right now. And I'm just really excited to see what happens with them. Any other teams you want to talk about?
Feels like the Hornets have been winning a lot recently. They're only they're one game above Toronto and Washington, but it feels like they should be higher than the 7 seed. They've been winning. They beat the Bucks twice, I think. They beat the Sixers last night. I just know every time I've checked, they've been winning, and every time I've watched, they've been playing well together.
They're top 5 in offense, I'm pretty sure, and I'm pretty sure they're bottom 5 in defense.
Yeah.
They are a center away from being a legitimate playoff threat, and that's super scary. I don't know why, if I'm them, I have not traded for Miles Turner yet. Yeah. I would give PJ Washington, if the Pacers really want book night, I'll give him too. Just get yourself a center that can do something.
One thing I've noticed when they're playing is that they all they never lose confidence. Their entire team never loses confidence. And you see that, you don't see that with many teams. A lot of teams, it's yeah, I'm just gonna fake this. I'm kind of open, but I'm just gonna fake and then drive and kick out again because I don't want to shoot it. I missed my last 2, but they never do that. They always shoot it. Even if Kelly Oubre, I think he's had some bad shooting games this year, but then he also drops 40 sometimes because they never lose confidence as a team.
The amount of swagger between LaMelo Ball and Kelly Oubre, we should have seen this coming. There is no other way to describe. Just keep shooting besides those two. Honestly, what's his name? Terry Rozier has been one of those guys for years now, too. He just makes everything in the clutch.
I know.
When he missed against the Wizards, I was shocked.
But when he made it against the Wizards in our first game that we played,
he's broken my heart, too.
It's awful because when he gets the ball, it's the same feeling I had with DeRozan. I'm no, just double him when he touches it in the clutch. I'd rather have who's on the court over there. I'd rather have Gordon Hayward taking an open 3 than Terry Rozier taking that contested 3 per game. It's insane.
I'll never forget when Cole Anthony hit that buzzer beater on us last year, bro. That man owns us. I think he scored 30 in every single game he's played against the Wolves. Wolves killer. Anyway, sorry, I talk about them too much. The Bulls are also kind of streaking, but do we want to segment this?
No, let's talk about the Bulls first. We've only got a minute or so.
Okay, we can be fast about this. You want to talk about the Bulls?
Yeah, I haven't. I'll be honest, I haven't watched much basketball as of late. But I've tried to keep up with news and stuff as much as I can, and looked at scores and stuff. And they continue to just be a good team. And DeRozan's been an incredible leader for them this year.
Marvelous.
Who has put himself into the MVP race somewhere now. Certain people have him in different places. But the fact that he's a candidate after just what he's been through, not only in the league, but just a guy
not being an all-star last year, being an all-star snub last year.
Yeah, and the guy who's, had the whole mental health struggle and all that, it's been really great to see him, and they're an exciting team, and everybody kind of had doubts about whether or not they were going to be a 1 seed or a 4 seed or a play-in team, and they've really defy the odds, and they've been really, really good. So with that being said, we'll hop into segment 2. Let's catch on.
Okay, I want to talk about the Bulls-Nets game because I saw some people. I didn't watch the game, but I guarantee what this person was saying was wrong, and I saw a lot of people supporting it. I saw them saying, Kyrie had nothing to do with this win. Don't act like Kyrie's the reason they won by so much now and the reason they're playing better. I'm like, there's no way that the threat of Kyrie didn't play a part in the Nets winning that game. I didn't watch it, but I know enough about basketball to know that having Kyrie on the floor creates so many more opportunities for your offense. Even if he scores 17 or whatever, him being there, they have to guard him. Like they have to guard him super well and have to attempt to guard him super well.
People really, really struggle with the idea of people playing a role or making an impact without putting up numbers. And it's crazy to me.
These are the same Lakers fans that are like, did y'all hear about the Lakers Spaces thing that happened last night?
No.
So, oh my God. So on Twitter, there are these things called Twitter Spaces where it's basically like rooms that people can join and talk about, and then people can invite them in. So for the first, for a little bit, the Lakers fans were all just bashing Westbrook because he's on like a shooting slump. Did y'all see what the Kings did, by the way?
Yes, out of pocket.
Oh,
really
funny. They were just basically saying Westbrook was cold, from the field. But then at one point, Russell Westbrook's brother joined one of the Twitter Spaces, and they suddenly changed their tune. It's like, wow, Westbrook just makes everyone around him better. So yeah, Lakers fans continue to be fake. Side note: how have the Lakers played the Kings like 18 times this year?
And they keep losing.
I know they beat them once, but somehow I feel like the Lakers have only played bad teams, which makes sense considering they have the hardest schedule remaining. But I'm pretty sure they've played the Magic 5 times. I know that's not actually a thing. I know they've played the Magic, the Pistons, the Thunder, the Kings. I feel like that's been all of their games.
The Thunder worked out well for them.
All of their games have been against these teams. When are they going to play good teams? They go to overtime.
But they're 500 right now.
Oh, that's gonna fall.
Which puts them at. It doesn't have the numbers on the ESPN app, but I think it's around 18th or 19th in the league overall, which is they're still.
You could probably go. I think
I'm gonna check
if you just hit league, it may.
No, league it has that, but doesn't have numbers next to the teams on the league.
I'm gonna see what their projected win totals are for 538.
So they're the 8th seed in the West. They wouldn't be in the playoffs in the East. They wouldn't be.
Also, with the whole Kyrie thing, statistically, he wasn't even bad. He just didn't put up a large number of points.
Exactly.
He was pretty efficient. 40% from the field is fine.
And
33
either way,
from 3.
I think Harden and KD had big games, right?
KD,
Harden.
Obviously very efficient. Harden's
bounced back.
50% from the field, shot 5 of 8 from 3.
They can do that either
assists.
way, but it definitely helps to have Kyrie as a threat.
Yeah, people also don't understand spacing. If you, and I know I probably talk about spacing and shooting a lot. There's a reason the Warriors are as good as they are because I wanted to talk about Clay's return at some point. I don't want to cut off whatever conversation was going on before this, but the idea of having a shooter or a talented player on the court in the back of the defense's head, this is going through they're thinking about this constantly. Where is this person? Where is this person? And even if that person doesn't touch the ball for 5 straight possessions, their presence on the court can totally change the game. And I think people on Twitter or wherever struggle understanding that. People on Twitter struggle understanding a lot of things.
It's players' gravity. Even if you've played basic youth league basketball.
Yeah.
You'll know, number 6 is their best player and he's 16'7", so we need to watch him every 2 seconds.
Or you can play a pickup game. You can play a 4-on-4 pickup game at whatever local gym or whatever. And if they go into that gym and they know, okay, this person can shoot, if you stand in the corner and move around the perimeter for a possession and the person has to stay with you and that's one less person in the paint that collapses when somebody drives to the basket, that's making an impact.
Successful possession.
Yeah, you're allowing that person to score easier, which is obviously good for your team. And people don't get that with how much I don't know how, because threes are so frequently put up now.
Yeah.
And such a huge part of the game. But I always hate when a player can have a good impact on the game and people are just and he didn't score more than 20, so he wasn't really there.
Yeah.
It's just Flight Reacts kind of mentality that
And Flight
Yeah.
Reacts trolls on purpose.
Right.
Like
So,
they're acting.
they got KD, Harden, and Kyrie. The rest are nobodies.
They're acting the same way that a person who is purposefully being an idiot acts.
Right.
It's insane, and they're serious.
Shout out to Flight though.
Side note, so he's getting his bag, but side note, according to 538, which is like, it's a pretty well respected at this point, like predictor for what people's records are going to be and like all that. They have the Lakers as projected to go 38-44, and they only have a 31% chance of making the playoffs, according to this projection. So, and this is below teams like, to put into perspective, let me just find other West teams. Who's been bad? Like the Clippers, they have going 40-42. The Wolves, they have going 41-41, both of which having like higher playoff percentages. The Lakers are going to struggle soon.
I just don't see, like, if the Lakers play Golden State, Phoenix, Memphis, Utah, Chicago, Brooklyn, Miami, Milwaukee, it's just hard for me to see them beating those top 4 teams in each conference. Even in a regular season game.
Yeah.
Even if LeBron drops 40, we've seen them struggle when LeBron's dropping a lot of points. So and I'm sure they play some of those teams because they have the hardest schedule, like you said, for the rest of the season.
I'm gonna look up what their schedule is.
It's just enough Lakers talk. I'm
Sorry,
kind of tired
I'm
of
done.
the Lakers.
I'll stop.
I'll move on to another team then. How about we talk about
Who's been good recently?
Boston? I'm not going to talk about a team that's been good recently. I'm going to talk about Boston.
Oh.
How, Boston?
Just how?
How are you the 10 seed? How do you keep doing this every year? What needs to change? What do we think needs to change about Boston? They have players where you're like, wow, he's putting up this many points. He's putting up this many blocks, this many rebounds. Like, you're impressed by these players' stats on their team, and they do not win.
I saw somebody had like a blueprint for how they turn it around with trades. And I wish I had saved it because I didn't even think about bringing it up on here or the Celtics even being talked about. But the idea that they had made sense, and it was something along the lines of, obviously you're keeping Brown and Tatum, and I think they said you're keeping Grant Williams. You're going to keep, which I know is a weird name to say in this situation. I think they may have said Robert Williams too. And I think they said outside of those 4 guys, and I think there was some kind of peculiar thing that they had going on. They said outside of that, just trade everybody and get guys that can really, really shoot the ball around Tatum and Brown and just actually play like a coherent team instead of trading off ISO for ISO.
I want them to get an actual point guard.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. I know it's not all about stats, but I agree with you because they have these players that are putting up impressive stats and aren't. I mean, and even just their play impresses me when I watch them, and then they don't win. So I think they just need the guy to mesh all those impressive things together, which would be a good like give them a modern day Rondo. You know, like give them a Kings Rondo when Rondo was okay on the Kings. Modern day version of that because you obviously want a little bit of shooting. But just a floor general type guy, and you can mesh all these talents.
Okay, I'm going to say something kind of controversial. I actually didn't hate the idea that was proposed that for a Simmons for Jaylen Brown trade, if the Celtics got some additional assets in that. Like if they could get like a Therese Maxey or something.
Or give him like Shake Milton or Seth Curry or something.
Yeah, like a Seth Curry. There's some other stuff and some picks in there too.
If they got,
I wouldn't hate that. I think it would be better.
Korkmaz and Shake Milton, would you think 2 of them is close enough to Seth Curry if the Sixers were not willing to go up Seth Curry?
Depends on how many picks.
The Sixers should not be in a position to argue about Seth Curry when making a trade.
That's true.
The Celtics, I just want to say something really quickly. Bill Simmons, this is your comeuppance for saying that players on bad teams have had empty stats for years. What do you say about Tatum right now? What do you have to say about him?
Or Jaylen Brown.
Defend him.
There's no such thing as empty stats either.
You've been yelling at Cat for years, and now you guys have the same record as them. You have the 1 game difference. Sorry, you have the same record as him, but Tatum is still a consensus superstar. Shut up.
Empty stats is such a funny thing to me.
It's such a dumb argument.
Because it's constantly gotten disproven, especially more and more with like Zach LaVine and Devin Booker.
And Beal now. I mean, Beal's putting up less stats, but they're winning, and it's clear that
it's also not that far off either. Like,
the only player I can think of in I'm not gonna say history. If a guy is shooting 39% from the field, you can make that argument. Maybe if it's a Ricky Davis or a Isaiah Ryder, someone like that.
I would actually say. I mean, if we're going by the Andre Drummond, that's true. I mean, there was an NBA executive a couple of years ago that said Drummond can put up 20 points and 20 rebounds and have zero impact on the game.
Love it.
But actually, someone in the league right now that I wouldn't say empty stats because I don't want it to be a knock. It's just who else is going to score. It's Jeremy Grant. Jeremy Grant went to that team because he wanted to be the guy. There's a reason. If a role player goes to a team to specifically be the guy, you can technically call it empty stats. I wouldn't use that as a knock on the player though, because it's clear.
I would just say they're lower impact stats.
It's just clear it's clear what's happening.
Yeah.
So I mean,
or you can just say that their talent level isn't you can say that yes, this player will impact winning basketball, but they can't carry a team.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that too.
Are there any other teams
I'm just saying I know empty stats has the reputation of being a harsh criticism of a player. If I'm just using it by the definition of the phrase, technically Jeremy Grant has empty stats.
I have a fun question really quickly.
Okay.
This could be our last thing before we move on.
Yeah.
So currently, the race for the 10 seed in the West is an absolute train fire, or dumpster fire, apologies. It's between Portland, Sacramento, San Antonio, New Orleans, and all these teams are 10 games under 500. Or not, 10 games under 500.
The Thunder aren't that far out either, which is kind of scary.
I know.
Honestly, neither are the Rockets.
It's funny.
From the other teams that are mentioned,
y'all are only 3 games back, which is hilarious. Out of these teams, Portland without Dame, Sacramento, San Antonio, and New Orleans, who would you give the best chance to get that 10 seed?
Of those 4?
Not Portland anymore. Give me Sacramento.
Is it weird that I still
give me San Antonio?
Kind of I'm gonna say the Pelicans, dude. Even without Zion, because they've been for some reason they just have timely scoring or something. I don't know what it is. I like that team. I was really the other way about them 3 weeks ago, and suddenly they've kind of been decent. I think San Antonio is the second best bet.
I'm choosing Sacramento.
I don't hate the Sacramento pick.
Because
the more I think about
here's the thing: they can take advantage when teams play really bad.
Yeah,
they're not gonna. I mean, I've seen them beat good teams top 5 seeds when they have a bad night. They can take advantage of that, but they also might lose to the Rockets or the Magic. So it just depends. But the fact that they can take advantage of those things even against better teams, I think that gives them a chance.
I would say Kings or Spurs. The more I think about the Kings, the more I want to pick them.
I'll say the Spurs. Or the Spurs would probably be my second choice. The Kings, no. I will never.
I mean, any of these teams really outside of the Spurs, I don't have any faith in. Because, I mean, the Spurs, right now, they're not great. But they've shown, and the players in their team have shown, they can be pretty decent.
Yes. Probably ain't going to be terrible.
Exactly. Season. Sacramento and New Orleans, I just have no hope for. They have solid players, but their teams.
We're going to lose to one of these teams in the play-in game. And
it's going to be really funny when you do.
Anyway, sorry. I just thought that was a fun topic of conversation. Do we want to move into our next little segment?
I don't even know if we need to segment this. Let's just talk. There's some injury talk around the league. We're going to start off on a positive note. We haven't recorded since this happened, but Klay Thompson is finally back after 900-something days of being gone. And
I've missed him so much.
I know. We were all out at dinner when the game had started, and just seeing them do player introductions with him, and he's in the huddle, and then he scored the first basket of the game on a kind of awkward layup.
Apparently it wasn't even because the play wasn't designed for him. He was supposed to move the ball there, and he just saw it was an open lane, so he went for it.
I mean, I think they should have drawn the play for him anyways. It ended up being the same result, but I'm just glad he's back.
He had a great quote after the second game he was back. He said I'm on a minutes restriction, not a shots restriction. And that's just the most Klay answer possible.
The league is so much better when that Warriors team has their big 3 playing.
Yeah. Now, moving past some of the emotional stuff, and actually talking about the team and how it affects the team, what you just said about him not having a minutes restriction, but or having a minutes restriction but not a shot restriction is actually good for them because he'll get back into the groove quicker if he's just shooting. Like if you're shooting, and the more looks you get, the more shots you take in the system of the offense, the quicker you'll get back into as close as he can get to his former form. That sounds like a weird
Former
phrase.
I mean, that's fair though. Yeah, I'm just super excited. I want to see this Warriors team be good. Because after the year that like, part of me was kind of like a little happy when they were bad that one year, and then we got the first pick over them. But then like last year, seeing them lose in the playing game, like that
bothered me. No, I mean, I don't have a disliking towards Memphis, but they're just kind of like to me. And
last
year,
year,
it's exciting.
And Dylan Brooks bothers me, so just seeing him get in and not Steph Curry.
Don't get me started on him.
Because I like Curry a lot.
Thankfully,
I like the people. I like a lot of the people on the Warriors, and Dylan Brooks. Just seeing him get in over Curry was like, wow.
Yes. Dre, Clay, and Curry.
Because Dylan Brooks basically just fouls people and gets away with it on defense. That's his defense.
He's no Patrick Beverly. I would say that.
But yeah, it's hard for me at this point as a team who no longer has a team that's competing. It's hard for me to not root for the Warriors this year with their big three back officially at this point, and Curry deserves a lot of credit for everything he's done this year, obviously, because he does that year in, year out.
I will say
to see them playing at a high level still, even though their team looks different than it did in 2015 or whatever. They've got a lot of guys that are easy to root for.
I feel like this is the most parity the league has had, and like even more than last year. Because like, I don't know, I just feel like some team is gonna make a run again, like the Hawks did last year. But it's gonna be.
I mean, I also look at, like, to me, Chicago, Brooklyn, Miami, and Milwaukee, they all four have a chance to make the finals from the East. All four of those teams.
In the West, you have
in the West, Phoenix, Golden State, Memphis, and Utah all have a chance. You're gonna say no to Utah? Listen to me.
No, I agree with you.
They have been very good the past few years. They need a few things to fall the right way, and they can make it. They need, and I'm not even talking about injuries or anything. I'm talking about a few games. Like, remember when Mike Conley, I think it was when they blew the 3-1 lead to the Nuggets, or 3-1 lead to the Clippers is what it was, right?
No, it was the Nuggets.
Or was the Nuggets? Yeah. Okay. So it was the Nuggets. They blew the 3-1 lead. Mike Conley had that three that rolled out. If that goes in, they move on. And then just a few things to fall their way. It's kind of similar to that when it didn't fall their way.
I mean, the league is already dealing with a lot of injuries too. So if that trend somewhat continues, then they're going to have a really solid shot. Right now, there are 4 seeds. So they would start off against Dallas. I think they take that series pretty easily.
No. I'm going to say the opposite.
Really?
I think that is a matchup nightmare for them. Because it's Luka, and then they have 5 shooters, and then they have a bunch of shooters.
Gobert, I guess.
Gobert, like, I think they beat Memphis. Like, I think they would beat Memphis in a series, and then I think they would have maybe a chance against Phoenix. I think that Golden State is a terrible matchup. I think that Denver would give them fits, even with just Jokic. I think that I'm not going to say that because I don't believe that. I was about to say the Wolves, but that's too much. But like I said, that's too much. But it's just I don't have any conviction that they can overcome any kind of adversity in the playoffs. They're a team that is laid down and die every year.
Oh, I'm not rooting for them. I'm rooting against.
Sorry.
Night in, night out. I root against.
Sorry, I'm being a little rude, but.
But all right. So that's 4 teams from each conference that I think could make the finals.
Yeah.
Those are 16 potential matchups
that's
for the finals. That's pretty. That's very unpredictable.
That's more than we've ever had.
That's a lot of parity.
The league is a lot better when it's like that.
Yep. With 12 potential matchups.
Every league is better when it's like that. Look at the
12. Oh, because
12 potential matchups. Anyway.
Oh my God.
Yeah, because the Heat aren't going to make it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was
Those are. I mean, they're last to me in terms of the East, though. Out of those.
Yeah, but it's because Bam hasn't been playing, but they've still been good.
And because
Spoelstra's been so good.
Chicago and Brooklyn just look better than them. Milwaukee beat them last year, so it's beat them bad. So
Milwaukee
it's
kind
hard
of
to.
owns them.
It's
now.
really hard to imagine Milwaukee beating Miami beating Milwaukee now.
That needs to be a series in the playoffs again. I need to keep seeing that. And then imagine another foreign player gets Markieff Morris whiplash.
What was it? Bryn Forbes versus
Yes.
Jimmy Butler.
He scored more
Yeah.
than Jimmy Butler. Okay, do you want to get into our awards?
Oh no, we're doing injuries.
We
still.
got a
Oh,
couple more
sorry,
injuries.
I completely forgot.
Damian Lillard's getting surgery. He's going to be out 6 to 8 weeks as a time frame. I think he should just shut it down and get out of Portland because I'm so tired of this. And this is one of the guys that I don't care about loyalty anymore. I love when people stay and they want to be loyal, but at this point, it just needs to. They need to get over with.
There's a line. There's like a line with loyalty.
Yeah, Portland
trade
is the
value?
10 seed. Yeah.
Barely the 10 seed.
Does
Yeah.
his trade value go down if he's injured and out
No.
for the rest of the year? Do you think that matters at all to
Yeah,
other teams?
it's a
Obviously,
minor
they'll,
surgery, I
they'll
think.
they'll think about it, but at the same time, I do not think that will stop any team from trading for him.
They'll probably
I
just
just don't think that's
want
going to stop Damian Lillard from being Damian
they'll
Lillard.
probably want records of like tests and physicals and stuff
Yeah.
just to see, because you don't want. I mean, people around the league have to be wary after the Isaiah Thomas situation. Like, oh, his hip is all good. Nah, it's not.
Yeah.
That's different though. I feel like with Dame, the fact that he's under contract for like 3 more years, I think after this, it's to the point where you're like, if he misses this year, whatever. Next year we have a better chance. Imagine like I could see like, sorry Celtics or like the Celtics fans, but I just want to trade Jaylen Brown everywhere. Dame for like Jaylen Brown would be cool.
He'd be a point guard they could use for sure.
No reason not to trade Jaylen Brown everywhere. Look at them.
I know. So I do want to say also one more thing. Anthony Simons, you're not Ant, but you're doing pretty well, dude. I know you watch the podcast, so
That's my dad always makes the joke that we're gonna get Anthony Gill on the podcast because
Me too.
he's like the Wizards bench warmer. Basically, for 2 years he's been the typical bench warmer. Comes in and does what he needs to do when you got to put him in. But
the Udonis has
my
the
dad's
Wizards.
like, look,
The
the next
Wizards culture.
the next takes from the logo guest.
Me too.
We should hit him up after the pod and see.
Hey, bro,
what
you want
happens.
to come to?
We got a
Phoenix?
pod.
I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, he's a solid player. He just isn't quite good enough to be like an actual rotation
cracker.
player.
I mean,
Once
what's the
once
worst
you-
that happens? He
Once
doesn't
you put him
respond.
in, he actually
Let's
hits some shots.
go to the other injury before we forget.
Yeah,
Paul George.
Paul George, he's had elbow problems this season and is now potentially out for the year. Initially, they had only said, I think, a couple of months.
That's not a new thing for him.
And I don't know.
PG 13 reasons why he's not playing.
Don't do a 13 reasons why thing right now. Please don't.
Not even like
Sensitive
that.
topic.
He's just always injured somehow.
We, not even like, yeah, but now he could be out for the year.
That would be sad.
Yeah,
Just
and
Kawhi,
the Clippers
'cause
are a
I saw-
7 seed. They're at 500.
And Kawhi could come back. That's the thing.
I
Apparently
mean,
he's.
I think if Paul George is out for the year, you just hold him out. and
Oh
just
yes,
say,
obviously
yeah,
Paul George is out. But,
better luck next season.
but the report said that Kawhi was progressing through his rehab way faster
That's
than
good.
expected, so he could be back.
Clippers championship team is
Not this year.
no. I'm saying just when they sign those guys, that is
The window is
rough.
fading.
It's rough. What's going
They
on?
have
with
Eric
them.
Bledsoe on their team.
You
They're
know who
not
won
winning
that
any
trade?
titles, I promise you. Eric Bledsoe is the anti-champion. I bet he's a good dude, but just like
You bet he's a good dude.
the
but-
second Milwaukee got rid of him, instant championship. It's not a coincidence, I promise.
I don't know. It didn't seem to happen for the Thunder.
You'll, oh.
We won the Paul George trade anyways.
You'll
On
have
top of
Reggie
Paul George.
Jackson and
No,
what's it called?
We
And
didn't have
Bledsoe.
Eric Bledsoe.
No, you didn't. It was I mixed him up with Reggie
Clippers.
Jackson.
Reggie Jackson.
I
Or,
mixed
You
up
threw
with
me off
Reggie
guard.
Jackson.
You threw me off guard for a second. I was like, maybe he remembers
No,
something
no,
that
no.
I don't.
I
somehow.
mixed him up with Reggie Jackson because they're
Yeah.
both Clippers guards.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So that's my bad. Yeah.
hey, Reggie Jackson been kind of nice recently
I don't like that guy
though. Okay. Former Thunder. Anyway,
because he thought he was better than.
is that the only big injuries, or was there one more?
I think that's it. That's all I can think of off the top of my head.
I think that's good. Okay.
All right, we're at the mid-season point. Mid-season.
Yeah,
That felt off, but it's
it's right.
right, I guess. So we're gonna give some award predictions, or really not predictions, but who we have as a number one spot for certain awards halfway through the season.
Yep.
These guys have obviously been great through the first half, and I think, based on my list, I think they'll continue throughout the second. So we'll go award by award. Which one do we want to start off with?
Do you want to start with MVP or end with MVP?
MVP.
We'll start with
just
it.
start it.
Okay.
All right.
Who y'all got?
Do we want to go around?
Yeah. Theo, you go first.
I've got Curry. I know he hasn't been quite as good recently, and I was looking for a reason to put someone else above him because of that, and I couldn't find one. So I was like, it's still Curry just because there's no reason why anyone else has passed him in my mind.
I have Kevin Durant, and the reason for that is I think if we were thinking predictions or if we're thinking long-term for the season, I'd give it to Curry. But if we're going to really call them mid-season awards, I'm going to factor in the past week or two that Curry's kind of been off. And I'm going to give it to KD for that reason because I feel like he's been more consistent. They're putting up very, very similar numbers.
Yeah.
Obviously, both are efficient to the best players we've ever seen. But for the sake of not saying Curry, because I feel like you're going to have Curry too.
Nope.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with KD.
I'm going to take what you said and go up to 11 with it. I actually do have DeMar DeRozan
Whoa.
as my MVP.
Whoa.
Because
I love it. No, I love it.
Think of it from a narrative, like his stats have been good, but also just think of it from like a narrative thing too. Nobody expected the Bulls to be this good. Nobody did. And he has had so many moments like so far this year. It feels like almost like the Russell Westbrook season-esque, where like in a sense that he was no, let me explain. Just in the the fact that he keeps making these huge plays and like big moments and putting up great stat lines in games that matter, and that like he was, I'm not gonna say written off, but because he had been kind of was like disrespected, right? I feel like this has like been DeMar's like ultra revenge tour, and he's like taken the Bulls to new heights.
Yeah. Well, all the things you said are fair. The one thing I'm going to say, though, is just because the Warriors have been good for so long doesn't mean we should forget about the fact that before the season, people did not expect them to be this good either.
No.
Because I feel like a lot of people have forgotten about that.
Curry's second, but for me, I'm just going to say his slump, his like minor slump recently combined with just how amazing DeMar's been.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay.
I think if we were doing predictions for the end of the year, Curry
probably would get mine too, but DeMar, I'm just saying DeMar at the midpoint. Do you want to do defensive player of the year now?
Yeah.
Should I start? With
that you can start.
I have Draymond Green.
I have Draymond Green. It's kind of unanimous.
Yeah.
It should be unanimous.
We're seeing what's happening to them without him in the lineup too.
Wiggins, Connor, I agree with you. Wiggins isn't that good of a defender, but around Draymond, he looks very good. Like he's playing his role well on defense, and Draymond helps so much. The only reason Wiggins, by some people, is considered possibly an all-defensive team player
because he's the first line of defense.
Because he's there with Draymond.
He's the first line of defense, and so people think in the back of their heads that because the play didn't score, Wiggins did more than he actually did. Because when he's engaged, he's a good defender. He's like a pretty fine defender. Mm-hmm. But it's just been like, I don't know. People are just surprised because they thought Wiggins was absolutely terrible. For Draymond, I just want to say really quick that my team, as weird as this sounds, D'Lo has been like a vocal leader on defense for us, but he doesn't have like necessarily the talent that like a Draymond does. Draymond's just like that up to 11, telling his team where to go and where to be, and then just making the plays himself that he needs to is just like, it's all worldly. I think that's way more impactful than like a Rudy Gobert.
I knew it. I actually agree with you.
That's not even like a jab at Rudy. That's just the kind of defender I would want to think.
No, Draymond peak defense is better than Rudy. I also think this isn't everything that goes into it, obviously, because I'm saying Draymond, but as an individual who is affecting the most shots, it's still Rudy, but Draymond is better because he's you're saying, he's telling everyone where to go. He's also defending everyone, so he can defend further up to the wings, and Rudy cannot do that.
I feel like this is the moment from the preseason when you were talking about Scotty Barnes as the rookie of the year, and you were like, he does all the things. Draymond Green won't because he only scores points. Look at Ben Simmons; he did all the things.
On the topic of Scotty.
Anyway, do we want to? I think that's pretty consensus though. Rookie of the year, who we got?
Rookie of the year, Scotty Barnes.
I got Mobley.
I also have Mobley.
Oh my God, I forgot Mobley existed.
You forgot he was a rookie?
Mobley's stats are just as good, if not better, than Scotty Barnes. His team is just as good, if not better, than Scotty Barnes.
Scotty did no. Scotty
I wish I
deserves some
could
hype.
edit that out because I forgot Mobley was a.
That's what happens when you don't watch basketball.
I know.
Anyway,
And I saw him in
I-
person. Actually, I'm going to talk about this. I said I wouldn't talk about my Wizards games experiences.
that
Being at that Cavs game, I was at the Cavs Wizards game December 28th, I think. Mobley, did you see his up and
The
under
up and
layup?
under, dude.
Oh my goodness.
he was
I
insane.
saw that. I was like, whoa, dude. How did he do that? And it was under Gafford. I was about to say over, but it was under Gafford. That was crazy.
I've been so high on him since like the beginning of like the draft season. I wanted us to find a way to get him. So I wanted us to get a pick and pick him.
With
so
Cleveland's
bad.
success too.
But Cleveland's just
I also got scared every time he touched the ball. He was scoring very well in the
Yes.
post.
I forgot my pick is Evan Mobley, and it sounds like I'm just going off what y'all said, but
But no, he's
in
been
all
that
reality,
good.
yeah.
Kate
it's
also
gotta be.
deserves some hype too. But Scotty and Kate have also been really good.
Yeah.
Jalen Green hasn't been bad. He hasn't
Yeah,
been
but
great, but he's. I
Franz,
mean, starting off as a pure
You know
like
who else
scoring
is
guard.
there?
plus being on the Rockets.
Starting off as a pure scoring guard is not usually the smoothest path in the NBA.
As we've learned from last year, the media doesn't particularly like them. They prefer point guards.
Who do
I'm
more
sorry.
all around.
Even if they miss time. It's not important.
He's gonna hold on to that for so long.
For
'cause
the
the
rest
Wolves
of
won't
my
ever
life.
end up doing anything else.
Sixth man of the year. Who y'all got?
I got Tyler Hero.
That's who I have.
I have Tyus Jones.
Okay.
Ooh, I like that pick a lot.
Okay, I'll let y'all go first.
I mean, you talk about Hero. I'm not switching my pick. I can just talk about Harrell because he's in the conversation and he's on my team.
Yeah.
So you talk about Hero first, though.
Dude is a bucket. There's not much else to be said. He's putting up 20 off the bench. The Heat have been
Good.
really good this year. I know people had some doubts about the whole bubble guppies thing and the whole fiasco. But he's really stepped it up this season, and I feel like he's kind of embraced his role of being a spark plug, and he's not necessarily a guy who has to be in the starting lineup, putting all this pressure on himself. And I am a Hero fan. I liked him coming out of college. I was hoping he would fall to the Thunder, and obviously he didn't. So there may be a little bit of bias in there, but he's also putting up great numbers off the bench on a great team. And when you think of sixth man of the year, that's really what you're looking for, is a guy who's coming in and doing what his team needs to kind of put them over the top and set them apart from teams who talent-wise may be in that same tier, or guys who or teams that may be in a similar tier of seeding.
Yeah.
I feel like he kind of pushes them over the edge a little bit.
When did Hero? What pick was he taken with? Like 13? Was he
He
the SGA year? Or was he?
yeah, he was.
Or wait, no, he was the Zion year.
You're right. My fault.
Was it 14 or
Um,
it could have been 17? I don't
No,
know.
no, no.
wasn't.
It was-
not that
it was
far
lottery.
back?
It was
lottery.
14. He was the
Okay.
last lottery pick, I think. I'll
Anyway,
fact
that's
check
not
myself.
important.
All
You
right,
can go
I
through.
wanted to add something to what you said about Hero. He has missed some time, but overall that Heat team has missed a lot of time.
Yeah.
And he's one of the reasons why they're still the 3 seed, which is
I think
impressive.
the 4, but yeah.
No.
Oh no,
Bucks-
the
Bucks
3.
are the 4
My bad.
because they lost to the Hornets twice.
My bad.
But for Harrell, what did you say?
Better than the Wizards.
Better
Anyway,
than the Wizards.
go.
They're one game above us.
Go.
Harrell, it's impressive. It's so impressive how well he scores over bigger guys. I mean, he's strong, but he's quicker than them, and he uses that. He turns and he does a little hook thing. It's like a hook finger roll that he does. It's like a mix, and he always gets it over the bigger defender. It's really impressive. And also, Gafford picks up a lot of fouls early in games, and then we have to put Harrell in. So he doesn't really know when he's going to come in, is what I'm saying. Like, he doesn't know when he's going to have to come in and provide the spark, but he does every time, whether it's 5 minutes into the game or after the whole first quarter. Actually, Gafford's not that conditioned. It's never the whole first quarter, but you know what I'm saying. Even if it's after 5 minutes or after 10 minutes, you never know. He never knows when he's going to come in, and he still provides the spark. But not quite as good as Hero, in my opinion.
Hero was picked 13th
Yeah.
overall. Also, he is averaging a lot of turnovers this season.
It's fine.
But
Whatever.
he's been good.
And then really quick, I'll be quick about Tyus Jones. he kept the Grizzlies afloat when I know this is kind of like against the spirit of the award, but when Ja went out, the Grizzlies went 10-2 with him as like it was him and DeAnthony Melton as like the starting point guards, and he was just like a rep. He's done what he always does. He does not turn the ball over. He's been really good this year from three. I think he's shooting like 40%, and he has really made the Grizzlies such a deep team. He leads that second unit when Ja is out, and I think they played a little bit next to each other too. So they're just really good when he's in the game.
Have we done most improved?
No.
No.
We can do that now.
I've got Miles Bridges.
Oh, that's not who I thought, but okay.
Who do you have? Because we were talking about it.
I thought so since you're not going with him now, because I thought that was you. I'm gonna go Darius Garland.
I had Darius Garland.
Oh, in that case, I'll go with my guy, Fred VanVleet.
All are great picks. I feel like
Yeah.
if any of them got it, I wouldn't be.
Desmond Bain was also someone I wanted to look at, but
I thought about him. He was in my top 5.
But yeah, should I go first? Fred
Yeah.
VanVleet. He has been a legitimate all-star this year, and he is like when he's on the court, the Raptors are actually like a good team. That's why they're so good in the standings because he's been playing. I think he has the most minutes in the league right now. I think he averages like 40 minutes a game.
Oh my god.
He's just like a beast. He's amped up the volume on his 3-point shots, and he's making them still. I think at like a 41% clip or something ridiculous. He's just been so good for them, and even though he doesn't average a ton of assists, he's like the main reason that offense is going as well as it is.
Darius Garland has also been a legit all-star, in my opinion. I mean, not that he's definitely getting in, but he has a great case to get in. Why are you shaking your head, Connor?
No, this is when I thought the Wolves were going to get Garland when they traded up to 6 because Cleveland was not projected to take him at all, and I thought the Wolves were going to get him, and then we ended up getting Culver.
And the one thing that Darius Garland has that I don't think other guys have for this award is it's most improved player, but his team has improved so much, and he's a big reason why. His improvement is a big reason why his team has improved. His record, not his. I'm not saying team.
No, I'm saying
team
VanVleet
record.
too, but yeah.
Team record has improved a lot. So, I mean, Fred VanVleet has that, but the Cavs are like the difference. The difference is kind of crazy for the Cavs. They had the 3rd pick last year.
The Raptors had the 4th.
True.
I'm not trying to discredit. I'm just saying.
But I'm
Just
also saying. The Cavs are what the
Cavs were definitely worse. I projected them to be worse.
The fifth seed,
fifth seed, and the Raptors.
No, the Cavs are
Raptors.
6.
No, Raptors are 8. They're tied
Raptors
for 8
are
right
8.
now.
Cavs are 6.
And
But
Cavs are 6. So yeah,
They're close.
they were lower and they're higher than the Raptors. But
Whoa.
either way,
And then your guy.
All our guys are 6, 7, 8 seeds in the East.
Go.
I have Mikal Bridges. You can
Oh.
give it to VanVleet.
You mean Miles?
Whoa, Miles. Wow. Whoa. My fault. Miles Bridges on the Hornets, not the Suns. If VanVleet got it, I wouldn't be mad. If Garland got it, I wouldn't be mad. I had Bridges. He was the first guy to come to mind, at least, so I just wrote him down because I feel like he was a guy who you always looked at as, oh, the Hornets' future, he'll be one of their reserves, or not a reserve, but he'll be one of their role players. He'll be a guy who just comes in, does what he needs to do. Other than that, he's not going to do anything crazy. And he's currently the leading scorer on their team. He's had a lot of really, really memorable moments this season. Obviously, he's a guy who is going to dunk on you. So he's going to get those every year. But when a guy can step up from role player to team leader, one of the better guys on the team, I feel like that really sets them apart when it comes to most improved. Statistically, he's got a jump. It was more of a jump earlier in the year.
But it's still good.
But he started every game. So he's been a really, really solid piece for the Hornets. And there's a lot of guys this year that you can give the award to, which I think is a lot of fun because most improved is a really good award.
It's a fun award.
Yeah.
Okay, and I think our last one is Coach of the Year, right?
Yeah, this one
We all
should
got
be pretty quick. I have Taylor Jenkins.
I also have Taylor
the
Jenkins.
Minnesota Grizzlies.
it.
Whoa! Oh my gosh! I can't
Minnesota-
talk.
What are you thinking of?
Whoa! Whoa!
Minnesota.
Oh my. Okay, the Memphis Grizzlies. I'm sorry. I don't know what's going on.
Nah, you
But I mean, they're the 3 seed in the West. I don't think anybody expected them to be
No.
at that point, especially after trading Valanciunas away.
especially after Thanksgiving.
Yeah, the team looks so coherent. Ja is obviously a great leader, but it's not just the Ja show. Like they've got a lot of other guys who play their roles to perfection, and I think Taylor Jenkins deserves a lot of credit for that. The Grizzlies for the past couple of years have kind of surprised people. I feel like they've been a higher seed each season than we expect them to be. And I think he deserves a lot of credit for that, a lot of credit for the way the guys in his team have stepped up.
Yep. And then my guy, I had JB Bickerstaff, just because he's dealt with a ton of adversity already in the season with like just Sexton going down and then Rubio going down too. And the Cavs have still remained a competent team. He's done really well with player development. Like I think almost everyone on their team has at least been better. He's coached 2 guys that should probably legitimately be all-stars and then probably the rookie of the year. I think that they're finally figuring it out in Cleveland. And I think he's a huge part of that. I got really excited when you said Minnesota. I'm like, Chris Finch? No. He's been good, but not that. But yeah, I think that will wrap up our awards.
Did you have anything else to add to Jenkins?
Spo deserves some.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think he deserves the award, but he deserves some credit for.
I thought of him a little
what
late,
he's
but yeah.
done.
Because he'd have probably have low key had like the most injuries in the league this year. They've missed Jimmy and Bam for a lot of time. I think Lowry even missed some, and they've probably signed the most hardship players in the league, and they don't care. They just keep winning. They went into Phoenix and like thrashed the Suns one night, I remember, and thrashed, not flashed.
I mean, when you've got the GOAT Udonis Haslem,
You
right?
said thrashed. I heard thrashed.
But I thought you said flashed.
No, I said thrashed too.
I mean,
if
but
they flashed the Heat, it would have, or the Suns, it would have been a little
speaking
different.
of Suns,
would
and
not have been
flashing,
good for TV.
Speaking of Suns and flashing, Devin Booker, get over the mascot, dude.
Oh,
The Raptors mascot.
know where it was
It's
going.
not that serious.
No,
That was
seriously,
really
I
funny, I'm
agree.
not gonna
Why?
lie.
Why are you mad, dude?
I love the
You can't-
picture of the big inflatable one just standing behind the basket, and he's like as tall as the shot clock.
I know. Dude,
The video of him walking
I
down
hope,
the sideline with no fans.
I
Not the
hope,
sideline,
I
but the
hope
side of
when the Raptors are able to have fans back in their stadium, everyone, if they play the Suns again next year, it's just all people in Raptors
That'd be hilarious.
outfits and just like double down on it. Because if that man can't be doubled in a pickup game and he can't handle a mascot in an empty arena, that's not Mamba mentality, bro. Come on.
Thanks.
Did you have anything to add about Taylor Jenkins?
I think
Okay.
we're good.
All right, well, that's going to do it for episode 10. Hopefully, it won't be another month before we record again.
It'll be
I'm
2.
thinking
It shouldn't be, honestly.
I'm thinking we can get episode 11 out in like 2 weeks from now.
At
the max.
At the max. And that
At the-
probably will be all
Hopefully next week we'll record.
That'll
That's
probably
what
be all-star
Honestly, we
ballots.
just gotta. Let's talk about it on Sunday because we'll all see. Most of us will see each other Sunday, and we can talk
Do y'all
about.
play at 8?
We haven't gotten the thing yet.
But we'll see on Sunday where we can all talk and see what days we're open
I
during
may
the
be
week.
free Sunday anyways.
My guess is that we will probably record next. We probably will record next week, I would guess,
Yeah.
and that it would probably come out like next Saturday.
I mean, we've got school
Um,
off Monday, which helps a lot.
Yeah, because of MLK Day.
We might have school off Tuesday.
I think that the next episode we do will probably be all-star ballots, and then
Mhm.
maybe like trade deadline stuff coming up. We might do trade machine in the coming episodes.
I
If,
should've
if there's a big trade, we'll definitely talk about
Yeah,
it.
Yeah,
I
but
shouldn't have
we
given
can
a
make
time
sure.
estimate. I should have just gone with the rule that I follow at both of my jobs, and that's you don't tell people a time because you can't guarantee it. So even if you know,
Yeah, that's why
Or
you
you
show up
think
30
you know.
minutes late everywhere.
no.
Yeah. I'll leave in a few minutes. 15 minutes later, on my way.
I'd say no.
No,
I said
I'm not talking
to-
about
I was-
today. I'm not talking about today. I'm talking about in general. A few minutes is 15 minutes.
Normally, I'm
Steven.
just a couple minutes off. I'm like
So-
5 minutes off every time.
Is a few minutes 10
There's-
minutes to you?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, no.
You're
If it's like
crazy.
a
10
no,
minutes is a bit.
We're gonna
a
have
few
this
minutes
debate
is like
on the-
a few
we'll
minutes
put
is
this in
like
the
3
episode.
to 5.
You'll be saying like
depends.
on my way,
It's-
and then 15 minutes later you'll be like, "Oh, sorry, I'm actually leaving now." You'll be like, "I had to do tech stuff."
yeah. I
I
overestimate how productive I'm going to be a lot of the time, and then I don't end up being productive. I'm like, oh, I really want to finish this.
Crucify this man in the
think-
comments
no,
after hitting that
no,
subscribe
hey,
button.
hey,
Let's
no,
go.
No,
okay. Here's my philosophy. You don't. It's exactly what you said just a second ago. Don't give a guarantee or something that sounds sure unless you know. I'll be like, I'm probably leaving in a bit, which means I can probably leave in 10 minutes. But if something comes up, then I said probably. So exactly, and then I say leaving when I'm sitting in my car, not when I'm about to walk out the door. Because if you're about to walk out the door, then your parents are like, "Hey, do this."
Mow the lawn.
I've
Then-
had that though.
Then no, but say leaving or on my way when you're sitting in your car. Then
I do that.
they're not gonna run out to your car and be like, "Hey, come back in and do this." No, they're gonna
No.
say when you're walking out the door.
After
No,
the-
I get stuff like that when I say like, "Oh, I'm on my way in a few minutes." But once I don't actually say I'm leaving until I get in my car.
Okay, some
Brian,
people in the group, Brian
no,
and
what
Noah.
name drop Brian?
Noah will say, "I'm leaving," and it's like he's ready to leave in 5 minutes. Like, bro, you're not leaving. You're getting ready to leave.
No, he'll say
Normally
he's
he's
leaving
asleep.
and then he can't find his wallet for an hour.
That or he'll just not be awake,
Yeah.
and you'll have to go pick him up, and then be caused to be
Where-
an hour late.
Oh, we went to breakfast a few days ago. We went to breakfast a few days ago, and no, I'm
Oh,
leaving
we're
this
just
in there.
leaving this in.
We're gonna
Okay.
do a little
we got
after
4
show.
minutes left in the room.
That's fine.
They won't care.
We
They can deal with it.
we went to go get breakfast, and Noah, I think, had said the night before, he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm down. We'll go." And bro didn't show up.
Nobody was there.
What? No, he was there.
I'm tripping.
He was
What
there
am I
before
thinking?
you.
No, who
No,
didn't go that said they
you're
were
the
gonna
one.
go?
Max, right? Because I was there. Brian showed up like 5 minutes later.
No,
than
here's what
expected.
happened. What happened was you showed up and we were all just like, Jonah, you showed up last after Brian. Brian's always
No,
for
'cause
context, Brian's always
Yeah.
30 minutes late.
Why
and
did I think
you showed
Noah
up after
then?
Brian.
It was because of the snow.
I
day.
was thinking of the other time that we went
No,
to
it
that
was-
same place, and Noah showed up really late.
Yeah.
That's what. Okay, no, the last time I had to scrape ice off my car for 30 minutes with a brush instead of an actual scraper because I didn't know. I think we have a scraper, but my mom took it to work. So I don't know.
I'm so.
But I had to
Well,
scrape my car. I hadn't scraped it since the storm. We got a decent amount of snow, and I just scraped it with a brush, and it took 20 to 30 minutes.
My
And that's why
dad
I
came
was
and clutched and came and did my car for me, even though I was at my mom's house. It was really funny because my mom had just been complaining. How are you gonna do this? You have that tiny scraper, and I'm like, I'll figure it out. And then he just shows up out of nowhere, and I'm like, yes.
Dude,
Yeah,
during
I
that
went with the
snow-
I'll figure it out approach, and I was 20 minutes late.
During that snowstorm, Brian was waking up at 2. And it's like, yo, we should hang, guys. And Brian's like, sorry, I woke up. It's like 2 hours after we said we should hang out.
Didn't we say we were gonna go somewhere when it happened? And Brian said he would go.
Hanover kids.
No.
No, that was a different thing because that was the roads. There
Oh.
was something else I think where Brian had said at like 2:30 in the morning. He's like, "Oh yeah, I'll go," and then didn't wake up the next day
Yeah,
till like
I think
1.
he
and we
didn't
had
wake
met
up for the snow day either.
Who did?
Brian didn't wake up either. He was late too.
Yeah.
I don't know. We're so bad with time. I'm not gonna lie.
Dude,
We-
how
I
is
do
this-
fine when we plan things like a long time in advance. So like when we went to DC,
Mhm.
I was fine with that. But it's like little things that are more casual that I struggle with getting to on time. But like I'm not late for school.
You're not Brian.
I'm not
Yeah.
late to things that actually matter usually.
Should we tell the
Well,
notorious?
I'm not gonna say that. I think hanging out with you guys
Should
matters.
we
Well,
tell the
no,
notorious
okay,
Brian
that's
story?
not what I'm saying. I'm saying like
Yeah, what did
you know,
do with?
I'm saying like if I'm going to work
Yeah.
for something, or if I'm going to volunteer for something, or if I'm going to school, those are like obligations ish.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't have to volunteer,
less forgiveness.
but they're closer to obligations,
Mhm.
right? Us hanging out is just like, oh, we're hanging out.
Yeah, my favorite though is the story. Who was it the first time that said when they walked in late and they saw Brian going to class?
That was
they knew
Noah.
they were
Let me
screwed?
rephrase. I'm not late. I'm not late to things where the time that you show up actually matters. Like if I don't show up an hour late to us hanging out,
just hang out.
it's like we're just hanging out. But
I'll get mad at
if
you,
I,
but nobody else.
If
will.
I show up an hour
Yeah,
late
you're,
to those things that I just mentioned, that matters.
you're the most impatient out of all of us.
No, it's because
but you also get to places early. That's what you need to stop doing.
I get
and
the
you-
places on time.
That's-
No. You all
My
try to
fault,
pay
my fault,
me.
my fault.
Yo,
You
I
do get places sometimes a little bit early.
a little bit,
But what you need to start doing is when I say I'm leaving. Actually, I don't know.
you
No,
want me to
once
not-
I say I'm leaving is when you should leave because I'm normally in the middle. I'm not the latest, but I'm also not really on
But if
time.
I don't
that
show
much.
up, nobody's ever gonna show
Okay,
up.
I've never heard any complaints about me. Really,
You're
No,
normally
you're
fine.
normally on time.
if
you're late,
and
you're not
If
that
I'm late,
late.
it's like 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And I'll usually just call
You
someone
normally
and
have a
talk to them
reason,
while
though.
I'm driving. Like I'll call someone and talk to them while I'm driving. I'm just like, yeah, I'm on my way. So then it doesn't feel like I'm late because I'm talking to them while I'm late. Exactly.
I just have time problems. So for some reason we always go to Sheetz or Wawa, and I just get super impatient when we go there because I always eat before we hang out, or at least like like I would say 80% of the time I eat before we hang out, just because that's something I do. So I'm not hungry the whole time. Nobody else does this. And then when we go to Sheets runs,
Because
and we have to
eating
order-
together is hanging out. That's
Yeah,
my mentality.
And even then, I've been on that a little bit of a diet, so I don't get anything. But I know you're gonna complain about how I walk around and say I want a snack, and I'm really annoying about the food that I can't have because I'm on a diet. But at least I don't walk in 5 minutes later and say, you know what, I'm leaving. Like, no, I wait for the people that are getting.
Normally, I'm just getting coffee at this point. Sometimes I get like a sandwich.
I'm more annoyed at Sheets. Like, I'm more annoyed it just takes people too long to get to.
All right.
Because like, why, Brian? Why are you getting a quesarito every time, dude?
Dude, it's rancid.
This is kind of turned
rancid.
into a Brian diss episode.
Okay,
He's not gonna like.
Well,
no, I don't think we're dissing.
That's not dissing.
Nothing
That's
that
like
we're saying is
Brian's
opinionated.
legitimately getting a near rancid food, and he eats it every time. How does he eat it?
His digestive system is goated. Like the fact that it handles what it does is crazy. He's got pretty good
the amount of
metabolism.
stress.
We need to bring Brian on the next one.
We do need Brian on
He
the
needs
pro-
to be able to.
No,
defend
really.
himself.
Whenever we do anything without Brian, it feels entirely different.
I know.
Anything that we do, did we staying at your house that he couldn't go? No, he was there for your
He
house.
was there, but
Whose
we were so sad when he almost couldn't come.
Yeah, that's right. Brian almost didn't come hang out with us one night, and we all got. I think we all were in the same car.
Yeah, well, yes.
We were going to Wawa in the same car, and at that point, Brian had said he couldn't go after saying that he could, and the entire night felt off until he showed up.
Yeah, no.
We all got in the car. We just sat there like, man.
No, and
wish Brian was here.
So we do food line runs where Connor's gonna make an angry face because he hates the food line run. We go to food line and we just pick up snacks that we want while we hang out. And I lost all motivation for. I mean, food line was closed, but I lost all motivation for any store.
We
run.
went to
once
Wawa, and
Brian.
we didn't get that much stuff.
No, I didn't get anything
because
because Brian wasn't there, and I'm like, normally I walk around with Brian and we're like, that looks good, that looks good. I felt I had no motivation for it once Brian.
I got a coffee and a Powerade. Normally I get like some chips at least,
Mhm.
and we didn't get that much because
Brian-
Brian wasn't there.
Brian encourages it so much.
And then he showed up later on.
And dude, that quesadilla that he had looked so good.
Yeah.
I wanted to eat it.
We should go get
Hold
food
on. I'm
after
gonna say something really funny, and we can end the episode soon. But I woke up the next morning, and I was hoping that Brian forgot to take his quesadilla home or didn't eat it and left it in my fridge. Because
I was tempted to steal it.
I was like, I was like,
good.
dude, I'm eating this the next morning if Brian forgets it. I was hoping so much.
Brian just likes queso. That's what I'm gonna get him, like a gallon of queso for his birthday.
It's disgusting.
He'll eat it.
Oh, it's like the video.
yeah,
You know the
yes.
mayonnaise video? The guy that takes his hand and just sticks it in the mayonnaise.
No, wait. Have you seen the gross nacho cheese that they serve at like crappy snack bars?
Mhm.
I'm gonna get it like
yeah.
that, but I'm just gonna mix it with
rancid.
I'm gonna mix it with
Brian
queso.
would like that. Brian would be the type to like it.
He'd be like, Connor, this is the best gift you've ever gotten me.
Brian is great.
Brian is great.
Anyway, we're
Oh
gonna
my
end it there before we
Anyways,
go off on another.
We'll be
tangent.
back with episode 11 on a date and time that I will not say because I don't actually know.
All right, listen on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, right?
We're on Apple Podcasts now.
Apple Podcasts. Sorry,
I don't
Yeah,
know
all
if if we had said that on our last one, but I randomly looked and we were there after 9 episodes. So I don't know what took them so long, other than the fact that we get 30 listeners a week or whenever 30 listeners an episode.
We're famous. Don't worry.
I
About
say it every time. If you are listening on one platform, listen on every other platform because it just gives us more views.
Yeah.
Pad our stats. We are Russell Westbrook.
Yeah, I'm gonna accept it. At this
Okay.
point. He's not as good. So yeah, look out for episode 11. Should be. Nope, never mind. I'm not gonna make a time commitment to it.
You do
but,
have
soon.
Hopefully, it will be out soon. Probably, it will be out soon. We don't actually know. But yeah, make sure that you're tuning in on every platform you can. Like, subscribe, leave a good review on some of the other platforms. Whatever it is, if it's good and it's about this podcast. If it's good and it's about this podcast, make sure you're doing it. We'll catch y'all later.